So it's lovely to see you all for this NRICH webinar. We're very grateful to Trinity College here in Cambridge for funding the webinars so that they are free to use, free to you to attend. I'm here today with my colleague Charlie and the director of NRICH, Ems. Hi, Ems. And my name is Liz. And we hope today that we're going to talk about how we can really raise the profile of maths with parents, and we're going to think about the kind of support we can offer parents so that they can work mathematically alongside their children at home. I'm going to at various points, we're going to be asking you to participate via the chat, so we look forward to hearing your thoughts. And as usual, don't feel like you have to have fully formed views to contribute. Please, anything goes. I'd like to share the NRICH site on the screen. Here we go. Now, the observant amongst you may have noticed that actually in the last few days, our website has undergone a little bit of a new look. We have a little bit of a revamp. We hope you're enjoying the new look. We've tried to make everything a bit cleaner and fresher, and hopefully everything is easier to find. Don't worry, nothing has gone, everything is still there, but maybe you'll find some new gems as you search.
Can I just check, Liz?
Yes.
Is everybody seeing what we hope they're seeing?
Oh, good point. Ems, could you give us a thumbs up, please? Can you tell us whether you can see the NRICH homepage? Thank you, Ems. Brilliant. Hopefully so. So this is our new homepage. One of the things that you may notice straight away is that, in fact, we've got a new menu, and very relevant for this afternoon because this is our new parent menu. I'm going to go straight to the primary parents section. And what we're going to do this afternoon is have a look at each of these parts in turn so that you become familiar with the kind of resources that we hope will help you support parents working mathematically with their children. Let's start off. Charlie, I'm going to click here where it says Maths at Home. So what you can see here is a collection of activities which are grouped according to age. And what we've done is we've particularly gathered together NRICH tasks that we think lend themselves to working on at home. So as a starter, Charlie, let's have a look here at the maths 5 to 7. Now you can see further that we've tried to categorise what we're offering, and you'll find that the same categories exist in the older age range as well. So Charlie, you can see, look, we've got some activities which are just required some pencil and paper, some which are interactive. We've got some tasks which perhaps require a bit deeper thinking, maths to take your time over. So not just a short activity, but perhaps to be looked at over an extended period. We've got some activities which are made easier if you do have access to a printer. And then finally, what we've called homemade maths. So the kind of activities that having some stuff is really useful for, but we've deliberately chosen tasks where the stuff is accessible in most homes. Charlie, I'd like to introduce you to a task to give our participants a bit of a flavour. And we're going to click, first of all, where it says interactive games and puzzles. So this top one, sort the street. I thought we'd start off with a non-numerical task. Well, it can be non-numerical. Perhaps I should phrase it like that. Some of you may know this task already for use in the classroom. Charlie, we've got 9 houses here. I'm going to put you on the spot. I wonder if you could tell me anything you notice about these houses.
Okay. Some have got blue doors, some have got green doors, some have got black doors. Right,
great. And it's really interesting you said that first. That's what many children will start with. Colour is a really readily distinguishable factor for many children, obviously not all children. Okay, what else do you notice, Charlie?
Some seem to have a ground floor and a first floor.
Okay.
And some seem to be taller with 2 floors above the ground floor.
Great. Okay, and so, you can imagine a parent sitting alongside a child and you could have these sort of conversations together. Charlie, I'd like to just scroll down a little bit. We've got a little interactivity here, which allows me to drag those houses around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in 2 groups. and I'm going to challenge you to figure out why I have grouped the houses in that way. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to put this one over here. This is going on the right. That one's on the right. That one's going to stay on the left. This one's on the right. Let me just double check. Okay, so these houses are in one group, and then these are in the other group. So I wonder what you notice about my groupings. How do you think I have I've done that?
Okay, so the grouping on the left seem to have 3 windows.
Okay.
And the houses on the right seem to have 5.
Okay, yeah, great. That's exactly what I was thinking about. I mean, children might have some slightly different ways of describing, but that's what I was thinking as well. Okay, so I could ask you, Charlie, would you like to I've lost my mouse. Ooh, where's it gone? Here it is. There we go. You could do a similar thing. You could group the houses for me. Charlie, at this point, in case you can't see, he's looking as if he's going to do something quite devious. I don't know whether he is.
No, no, I can't think of, well, can I think of anything devious to do? Okay, come on then.
Oh dear.
I will.
Oh
I
dear.
will.
So in the way I did it, I had 2 groups of houses. I mean, Charlie, you're not restricted to 2 groups. Let's see what Charlie's doing. Okay. Right. Having a look. So those are 2 groups.
Yes.
Ooh, this is quite devious. So we've got a group of 3 and a group of 6. So I'm scanning through, I'm thinking it's not door colour, it's clearly not number of windows this time, it's not about the number of stories. I think I've got to look quite hard. Is this about the size of the chimney, Charlie? These chimneys look smaller than these chimneys.
Okay, so it does have something to do with the chimneys, but I was thinking...
I know, don't tell me. They're on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. Yes. Fantastic. Okay. So this is a very, very simple activity in terms of simple to get hold of the idea, very accessible. You can imagine a parent and a child having conversations together and exploring together. They could take turns like we did, for example.
Yeah, I can imagine children really loving the opportunity of challenging their parent.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me just remind you, one thing I'd like to say actually before we move away is that this particular activity I mentioned has come from our Maths at Home collection. So it is an activity that was originally designed to use in the classroom, which means that there are some teacher resources. Now, you as a teacher don't necessarily need to draw parents' attention to this part of the task, but they could find bits of those useful. So it's up to you whether you draw attention to it. But something they may well find useful are the student solutions. So this is where we publish different children's solutions, and it might be quite nice and develop stimulate some more conversation. If once a parent and a child have had a go at this together, they look at some of these and just reflect on, we haven't thought of that, and interesting, I'm not sure. And that might provoke even more conversation. Okay, I'm going to go back, Charlie, to the primary parents page. If you remember, we were looking at our Maths at Home activity.
So can I just check? So
yep.
You chose this activity because it seemed like the kind of activity that a parent or, well, any relative might sit at the kitchen table and do with a child in a fairly playful way.
Absolutely.
And I suppose just in order to frame this conversation today, in the same way we talk about reading for pleasure,
yeah,
we're introducing children and their relatives to the idea that they might do some maths for pleasure, sitting at the kitchen table.
Absolutely.
In a non-stressful way that might encourage them to start talking about mathematical ideas at an early age.
Precisely, yeah. Thank you, Charlie. Okay. Very, very well articulated. Okay, I'm going to have a look now, just to show you another example. We're going to look this time at the age 7 to 11 Maths at Home activities. Similarly, you can see that we've got different categories, just like we had before. I want to give you a little flavour. We're not going to actually have time to do this because I'm deliberately going to click on Maths to take your time over. But just to give you a little flavour, here are some tasks which we feel would work very nicely with a parent or a carer and a child working together. But they do require a little bit of extended time, and they could also benefit with sort of leaving and coming back to. One of the ones which you might be particularly interested in for the older children at school is this one, neighbourly addition. So this is about adding consecutive odd numbers together. But the stimulus here is imagining walking down a street and noticing that on one side there are only odd numbers, on the other even. And this could start a nice conversation. What happens if we add these 3 consecutive odd numbers? Why don't I try some? Oh, you could try some too, Charlie. What do we get? Oh, we got these totals. What do we notice about those totals? And these kind of questions we ask here on the page. But as you can tell, this is a more leisurely, extended task that requires a lot of thinking over a period of time.
And what's quite nice is that it's sort of exploratory.
Right.
The parents or whatever relative, or it may be an older sibling doing this with a young child, may not know the answer to this.
That's right.
It may be a question that they haven't asked themselves before.
That's right.
And the idea here is that they might do this together, and the parent or the older relative is not necessarily an expert here, but they could be working on, and it might actually influence the kind of conversation they might have when they're walking down the street next time.
Right, right.
And start thinking about, oh, well, let's look at the street numbers, and can we predict what's across the road and what happens if we're adding them?
Yeah.
And I suppose one of the nice things here, I've just been thinking about it, I think the answer is always going to be odd if you're adding 3 odd numbers.
Nice.
And so there is something comes up fairly quickly.
Something comes up fairly quickly, which doesn't require a very high level of mathematics.
Yes. So when we talk about low threshold, high ceiling,
right.
there's something that they can spot quite early on. Yeah. And then that might go on to, oh, well, what's going to happen when we have 4 doors or 5?
We could do.
Okay.
We could do. Okay, so as I say, that's an example of one of the sort of more extended tasks.
Can you show me which page this came from?
Of course, Charlie. This came from the primary parents page. We're in the Maths at Home section. So that was one of the 7 to 11 activities here.
Would you mind?
Click.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I noticed that came from Take Your Time Over.
Yes.
You've got printed out.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that in the printed out, we're not assuming parents are going to print. Print. So I presume that what you have in mind here is that the school might print something to give to the children to then go
that would be ideal.
Work
absolutely
as homework or
That's
as a weekend task or something.
That's it, exactly. Okay. So what I'd like to show you now is we're going to go back to that main Maths at Home. That's fine. Maths at Home feature. You might have noticed when I first clicked that here we've got an article which summarises all the different activities and what we've been saying about the different categories, but it offers some general advice about how parents can support children, which Charlie and I will chat about a little bit later. But I wanted to draw your attention to this link at the top here. Those of you who work with slightly older primary students, so we're talking kind of years 5 and 6, you may find the resources in our Solving Together project useful. I'd like to show you an example. This link takes us to an explanation, a video of an explanation of how you might support your child as you learn alongside them at home. So this is our ex-colleague Andy, and he does a great job of giving parents some key ideas and sharing our key principles. Again, Charlie and I will draw those out as we go. But I'd like to show you, these are the tasks that were created for this particular project. And the one that I'd like to have a quick look at is this one, estimating angles. Now at the top of this resource, you'll see that there is a video. Now so all of these Solving Together resources have this little introductory video at the top, which was created specifically for a parent to take a look at alongside their child. It introduces the task and explains not only how the task works, but sort of encourages them to explore and drops in some questions. We're not going to watch that now because Charlie and I are going to show you using the interactivity how this activity works. So Charlie, I'm going to click here in this circle, and when I click, this line is going to move to create an angle one way or the other.
So it may turn clockwise or it may turn anti-clockwise?
It may turn, we don't know.
So I think of it as an arm going around.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
Almost like a clock, I guess, a hand of a clock.
And this is going to be a game, is it? Because it's a player one.
It is a game. So I'm going to be very generous and let you go first. You can see on the left that it says the target angle of 36 degrees. So when we click in the circle, this line, this arm will start moving. When you think you have created an angle of 36 degrees, I'd like you to click again to stop.
Have you been practicing this?
Not at all, no.
Okay, here we go. Oh.
To be fair to Charlie, he did have a slight difficulty there using the mouse. So
it's not my mouse.
It is
okay.
mouse. Okay, so Charlie,
I scored 2 points.
You scored 2 points, and that is because if we look down here, you are told that if you get within 5 degrees of the target, you're going to get 10. Between 6 and 10, you're going to get 5 points. And Charlie, you weren't so close, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because it's not your mouse.
Okay.
Okay, but it's my turn now, and I'm being told that I've got a target of 47. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to click in the middle. Oh, 55. That was a bit too big. Okay, but I scored 5. So we're being told I scored 5, you scored 2. Do you want another go? Go on, let's have one more. This is addictive, this game.
Do I get to restart?
Oh, everything. There we go. 19. Ooh, not bad, not bad. Your score has gone up to 7.
I think now's a good time to stop.
I don't think so. I'm going to have my turn. Okay, 82. It's interesting. So if I was sitting alongside my, an adult or a member of my family, what would I be? Perhaps we wouldn't want to talk too much at first about what we were trying to do because it's a competitive game. But I guess eventually I might be saying, 82, that's quite close to 90. I kind of know what 90 looks like. Can I get that?
Okay, I'm going to cover up your screen.
Oh, that's not fair. Okay, we're getting close, Oh no, that was not so good at all. My strategy clearly didn't work. Anyway, you get the idea. And as I say, this particular task is part of our Solving Together project. So there is a whole collection. They're particularly good for, I would say, year 6 in particular, but even year 5, if you just have a quick look at the task. So Charlie, we've explored together some of our, I'm just going back to the parents page, some of our maths at home resources. But you'll see as well that we've got what we've called our 4-2 activities. So these are versions of NRICH tasks, but we have tweaked what you see to particularly offer prompts and information for an adult working alongside a child. So those of you who are familiar with NRICH will recognise many of these tasks, but we've just done some little tweaking here and there. So Charlie, I'm going to click on here. And we're going to scroll down a little bit.
Can I just check with that angle?
Yeah.
You can play it as a game. Could you also play it just where you're trying to score highly? Is it always a game?
That's a good question. I can't remember the top of my head. Should we have a quick look?
Sorry.
No, let's have a quick look. And
because sometimes in our interactivities,
yes,
you can.
It's good. So here we are. This is where it is. Here's the interactivity. I think it looks like you can only play it as a game.
Okay.
There are other levels. We didn't mention that, so it does get harder. You're told here the range of angles, but I think you can only play it as a game. I guess though, there's nothing stopping you just recording each time what you do on your own.
Yes.
But good question. Okay, so here is our collection of 4-2. So these are challenges which we've just tweaked slightly. Charlie, the one I'd like to introduce you to is Dotty 6 for 2. Now, in this task, we also have a video, but it serves a slightly different purpose. So in the Solving Together group of activities, the video is an explanation of the task and some prompts so that an adult and a student can start exploring. In this task, the Dotty 6 video is a game being played, but with no sound. And so the idea is that a parent and a child, or a carer and a child could watch the video together, and it's up to them together to unpick what's going on here. Can they make sense together of the potential rules of the game? So Charlie,
you tell me what the rules are, so shall we do that?
Why don't we? Now, I should point out that the rules are also written on the page. So once you've had a look at the video, you can clarify your thinking by reading the rules. Charlie and I are going to show you a version of the game. I'm going to stop sharing the website and share instead. Let me stop sharing. Hang on a second. I am going to share the visualizer. Let's hope that works. I'm hoping you can see a 3x3 grid and a dice. Ems, could you give us just a little thumbs up that you can see that, please? Or could somebody give us a thumbs up?
And I've given
really helpful. Thank you, Ems. Brilliant.
I've given you, Liz, a green pen.
So I have a green pen. Charlie has a pink pen. What we're going to do is we're going to take it in turns to throw this dice, which is a 1 to 6 dice, a standard dice. Okay, Charlie, you start. So Charlie has thrown a 4. And so, Charlie, you can put your 4 dots into any cell in the grid. Now, I'm then going to do the same. I'm going to roll a dice.
Shall I roll it for you?
Please do, that would be useful. Okay, so this time I've rolled a 5. Now again, I'm going to put my 5 dots in one of the cells in the grid. However, I cannot have more than 6 dots in any cell. So I'm going to have to put those 5, I think, into a new cell. I might pop them up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Could we be using the same pen?
Do you know, Charlie, I was reflecting on this earlier. We could be using the same pen, but do you know, I think it's quite helpful for me to have my own colour, because then it helps me keep track of the dots that I've put on the grid there. And I will mention when I think it becomes particularly useful in a second.
Okay.
By the way, what we're aiming to do is to create a line of 3 6s. So if I finish a line of 3 6s, I win. If Charlie finishes a line of 3 6s, he wins. Doesn't matter who has put the dots in. Okay, Charlie, you have a game. 3. All right. So again, Charlie can't put the 3 in any of the cells we've already started. What are you thinking about as you're putting dots in, Charlie? Is there anything? So I've got a 2. I'm gonna add my 2 here. So I'm gonna finish. So we've got 6 in here now. So we can't put any more dots in that cell. This is an instance, by the way, when I think it's quite handy to have a different color, because it helps me keep track. Have I actually put my 2 dots in? Yes, I have, because I did them green.
Okay.
Okay. Charlie has rolled a 2 as well. Okay. You've made a nice 5 there, Charlie. Are you hoping that by putting that pattern, I won't want to put another dot in to make a 6?
No, I hope you will get a 1, put a dot there, and then I'm going to get a 6 and put it there.
Put it there. Okay. Let's carry on for a little while. So I have rolled a 3. Okay, so I can't put it in the middle. I can't put it at the top. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to pop it here.
That doesn't seem very risky.
Well, no, I guess because in order to complete this row, you can't do that in one move.
No.
Okay, so yeah, I guess it's not that risky. Okay. Ooh, Charlie's got a 6.
Okay, I'm going to take a risk.
Go on then. Nice. So at this point, I'm going to be thinking, ooh, right, how can I win? I want a 1. I want
But 1s
a
are
1.
the most difficult to get, aren't they?
Are they really, Charlie? The 1's the most difficult to get on the dice. These are lovely conversations that you could be having, aren't they? Oh, I've got a 3, unfortunately. Okay. Ooh. Now I'm going to be generous. I'm going to put these 3 here.
Why is that generous?
Actually, no, that's not generous at all. No, I was getting confused.
1.
Right. So Charlie wins because he completes the line of 3 6s. So what we have just done, I like the way you're writing that in capital letters. What we have just done is effectively recreated the video that you can see. If you point any of your families in the direction of this resource on NRICH, then they can watch the video to see a game being played. And again, Charlie, I guess this task, the mathematics is very accessible. The game gives that playful nature that we were talking about earlier, and this idea, about the maths for pleasure. I think if you're playing a game, yes, there's potentially a competitive element, but it's in such a non-threatening environment.
And it might get children talking about strategies here,
right?
And it's not at all obvious to me what is a good strategy yet.
No, but what kind of things were you thinking about as you were trying to place your dots?
Well, I knew we didn't want to spend too long, so I took a risk there. But normally I wouldn't want to leave you with the possibility of finishing a row.
Right. And these are lovely conversations that you can have. And I think if you were going to offer, any of our games to your families, I guess quite an interesting thing, not interesting, a useful point to make to start with is just have a go at playing the game several times and don't worry too much about the strategy initially. Just get into the game, become familiar with the rules of the game, and then perhaps think about how you can win. Okay, so let's stop sharing the visualizer and go back to the NRICH website.
So can I just clarify? So, so far, I mean, you and I heard Julia Donaldson talking on the radio last night.
Yes.
About encouraging children to read, which we know what schools do.
Yeah.
Schools have school libraries, some have got librarians.
Yeah.
Julia Donaldson was arguing that every school, she pointed out that all prisons have libraries. Surely every school should have a library. And we were saying that in the same way that schools encourage children to read, we'd like them to be encouraging children to also do some maths for pleasure.
For pleasure, exactly.
And but we're aware that a lot of parents are quite anxious about maths.
Yeah.
We're aware that some parents have never very good experience of learning maths.
Yes.
So the kind of tasks that we're showing and that they can find in the for parents section are non-threatening, are encouraging parents and children to be playful, are enjoyable.
Yes.
And
I think crucially, we're not expecting the adult or the other family member to be the expert. It is about being alongside. I think alongside is a really key word, isn't it? Here, we're on a level playing field in inverted commas. This is not about teaching. It's about discovering together.
And I think Andy makes that very clear in the video that you showed that is available.
Yes.
When we offer open days here for parents and children, we have some volunteers at the university, and we often say to them, your job is not to answer students' questions, your job is to question students' answers.
Yes, which is a really nice principle to hold on to for a parent as well. I think. Yeah. Okay. So, having introduced you to quite a few tasks, let's go back to the primary parents page. And I just wanted to quickly draw your attention to the other 2 aspects of what we're offering here. just, as I say, just quickly talk through. So as I mentioned earlier, on the NRICH site, we publish children's solutions. And if you go to this page here, you are offered the current, what we call live problems. So these tasks don't currently have any solutions, but we're inviting students to send them to us. And it could be that some family members would be really keen to support their child sending us a solution. If you scroll a little bit further down that page, you also have here the most recently solved problems. And so if you had sent a solution to NRICH, this could be a nice place to go, you know, to explore alongside the family member. Oh, is my solution published? So that's that. And if I go back again, the final box here we've called bookcase maths. And here we're thinking partly of those of you, the teachers, primary teachers in the classroom. However, I think it's worth sharing this resource with parents as well. So we've gathered here some books which stimulate mathematical conversations. You can see that we've arranged them according to the rough age range and mathematical content. If, for example, I go to the Key Stage 1 geometry section, you've got a little list here. This one, Grandpa's Quilts. I remember reading this. Funnily enough, I read this with both my children at the same time. So my children are separated by about 5 years. And there was something in this for both of them. It's a lovely story. It's about a grandpa whose quilt is not the right shape. It's making his toes cold. And so the children in the story work to try and rearrange the quilt so that grandpa's toes can be covered. So my older child was able to think a bit about area, whereas my younger child loved the humour and was being introduced to these mathematical ideas in a really lovely way. So Charlie, that's an overview of everything we have on the NRICH site for primary parents. I wonder, shall we have a little bit of a conversation about the wider picture? We've explained to you why we have chosen these particular tasks to feature in our parents section. But more generally, how can we get parents more involved with their children's mathematics?
Are we still sharing?
We are still sharing. Would you like me to stop?
I think so.
Yes. Let me stop sharing. There we go.
Okay. Okay, so you and I have talked a little bit about this.
Yeah.
And it occurred to us that often schools have got a school newsletter that goes out to parents, and the school newsletter could, for example, publish a problem of the week or a problem of the month for children to have a go at with a relative.
Yep.
At school, there could be a problem of the week again to do at home. We do have an NRICH newsletter for teachers, and we also have an NRICH newsletter for parents.
That's right.
So schools could encourage parents. I mean, I'm hoping that a lot of schools will tell parents about these pages that we've been showing. Yeah. And schools could set homeworks for children to do at home. And right. But then the teachers who are with us today may have lots of other ideas.
You may have some other ideas. If you have found a way that has really helped to engage the parents in your school community or family members in your school community with mathematics, please do pop in the chat your idea. What did go well? We'd really like to hear about it, and also I'm sure other participants here on the webinar would find that beneficial. I know, Charlie, that both you and I have in the past been invited by schools to run parent workshops. Now, we're not saying that you need us to run parent workshops, you definitely don't, but the idea of a parent workshop, so actually encouraging parents to come into school, doing some mathematics with them in this kind of way, can also be powerful. Now, I do realise that there are potential difficulties with that perhaps some parents who you'd really like to target don't come. But if you have done something successful like that, please do pop in the chat for us all to hear about. Should we give a pause just in case anybody would like to, I'm trying to scroll my chat, post. So do pop anything in that you found has worked well for you. I see that there was a request. Oh, there we go. Parent Learning Cafe. Right. Oh, lovely. Right. So thank you, Katrina. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. So this idea of a learning cafe. So you've invited parents in to be alongside their children during a maths lesson. That's really nice. So I guess in that way, the parents can experience a maths lesson, but also experience the kind of conversations that we have with children around mathematics in the classroom. And well, it sounds like from what you say that that's worked well. Yeah, great. If anybody else has done anything similar or different, please let us know. While you're posting in the chat, actually, I shall leave that for a sec. I know that somebody has requested that I remind you how to get to the Solving Together resources, which I will do in a second. Donna has suggested you've also done maths cafes, worked together on selected NRICH tasks. Great. I hope that went well, Donna. I wonder how you chose the NRICH tasks. Hopefully we've made your life a bit easier if you decided to do that again.
Yes, because the problems that appear on those parents' pages have been selected specifically because they are non-threatening.
That's right, they lend themselves to that environment. Yeah, thank you. Any other ideas, do pop them in. Thank you.
So in Julia Donaldson's program on the radio last night, she was talking about how encouraging children to read from a very early age is really important, in particular for disadvantaged children and families who don't have lots of books at home, and encouraging them to read is, and the OECD study that was talking about how this is one way of narrowing the gap.
Yes, exactly. And I guess part of that with very young children, of course, you're not expecting them to read themselves, but that whole idea of sharing a book together from a very young age. And I guess in a similar way, this is exactly what we are advocating with mathematics, sharing some mathematics, talking, having those mathematical conversations, whether prompted, I guess initially, it may have to be prompted by a particular task, but hopefully once a parent becomes more confident and realizes what's involved, it goes back to what we were talking about the streets. Perhaps this will encourage them to have mathematical conversations in the environment more, more frequently.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the same way, I suppose, children who get brought up in families that are used to going for walks or playing, I don't know, tennis or badminton, are more likely to see that as normal part of what the family does. Yes. Or, you know, singing in the shower or singing.
Right.
Then it's a family that often sings in the car, for example.
Exactly.
Actually, having some playful maths to do at the kitchen table might be something that, and that's why it's so important for primary teachers to be doing what they can to encourage this to be happening, to start to be encouraging children to be doing this when they're back at home, and hope that some of the tasks that we're offering are sufficiently engaging that parents are going to want to sort of ask for more. And
hope so. I just want to, so we're coming towards the end of our session, so thank you all for participating. I just wanted to show, some of you were asking how we got to the Solving Together resources. Let me just show you again. We were in the primary parents page, we were in the maths at home section, and in this article, top left, there's some general guidance, which is kind of what Charlie and I have been talking about, but right at the top, links to the video with Andy explaining, so offering some tips for parents, and at the top of that page, you've got the Solving Together resources. Alternatively, of course, you could put Solving Together into our search.
Can you go back a minute?
Yeah.
Because what we might do after this, I think if we do solving together,
if we
in bold,
linked here, that would be much more sensible. Good, we'll do that.
We can do that straight
We'll do
away.
that.
The other interesting thing about this page is if we scroll to the very bottom of it,
good thinking.
Today we were looking at the National Numeracy website, which has got a free family maths toolkit.
Yes.
And we've put a link to that. And there are 200 resources, was it?
Oh, lots. Yes, it's very much focused on primary children, so families of primary children. And yes, there were easily 200 resources. So that would be certainly worth a link. You've just got to give them your email address, basically, to receive the pack. Yeah.
What would be lovely is to have parents arriving at the school playground, waiting for the school children to come out, talking about the latest
maths problem,
and that it becomes part of the conversation.
Yes.
And in the same way that children grow up to love book, Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan, Harry Potter, Wind in the Willows, and they also become intrigued and curious about these sort of problems that their children are bringing home to do with family members.
That's right. That would be lovely, isn't it?
And for some parents who perhaps didn't have a really good experience of maths, maybe this will, they'll be a bit nervous, but how nice to be able to have a good, positive experience that can encourage them to encourage their children to have a similar experience.
Exactly. So I think we're rapidly reaching the end of the session. Somebody's asked about a recording. The session is being recorded. The recording will be put up on the page. So the URL that we use is, let me see if I can remember it quickly, is NRICH hyphen, tell me if I'm spelling this wrongly. I'm spelling it wrongly. NRICH hyphen live, rather than February, you want November. So we've got a placeholder page where, of course, there is no recording currently, but that's where it will go.
Can they not find that by going to the events page?
Yes, they could.
Okay.
They could indeed.
But will they get a message from us tomorrow?
You'll get an email when the recording is there. One thing that we'd like to flag up just before we leave is we've launched a new initiative recently, which is called Problem Solving Schools. And engaging with parents is something that we are encouraging through this as well. We have created a charter, which we hope you might like to use to reflect on your on problem solving, reflect on your current practice regarding problem solving generally. And one of the things we ask you to reflect on is how you reach out to the community and how you celebrate problem solving in that wider sense. So do take a look at our resources here. This is brand new. If you're interested in signing up to potentially become a problem solving school, do explore those resources. I think Ems is going to very kindly pop a link to our evaluation form in the chat. Do take a moment, if you wouldn't mind, to fill that in, because it does help us let the funders know, for example, that their money is being well spent, we hope, and it helps us to do a better job next time as well. If you have any questions, do pop them in the chat now, but I think that's it. So goodbye. Thank you very much for coming along this afternoon.